Hello and welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja Dwivedi, and in this segment today, we are going to discuss about the importance of the G20 in the contemporary, that is the current world. This topic is important from the perspective of prelims and also from the perspective of GS mains papers. Let's begin with the topics of discussion that we are going to look at. These are the topics that we are going to discuss step by step, starting with the news. Now, as the conclusion of the G20 Summit, COP26 has happened. We can see that India is truly making a mark on the global map. India is trying to and is succeeding in shaping policies for the future, not only for itself, but for the entire world. So that is what we are going to discuss. The G20 Summit. It happened in Italy under the presidency of Italy, and Saudi Arabia, Italy, and one more country is in the Troika. We will discuss about everything. Now pay attention, because I will also keep on asking you certain one-word questions for which you have to answer in the comment segment. Okay, let's begin. What is this? This is the news piece that we are going to discuss. That time for action, the conclusion and proper channelization of the G20 goals and the importance of Rome Declaration, everything is there. So do stay tuned. And the political cloud right now is such that it's a volatile world right now. There is no certainty between the relationship of many major economies, many major countries. G20 is a group of 20 countries. Okay, 20 countries and 19 countries and European Union. Can you tell me in the comment segment, where does UK stand now? As UK is not a part of the European Union. Is it 20 membership or 21? Tell me in the comment segment. Okay, first is that. And as you can see, this is a chart for you to understand the composition of G20, which comprises of the G7, the G8 and then G20. Earlier, now as you can see, Russia is also a part of the G8. And it was earlier a part of the actual handful group of countries, major economies, but after the annexation of Crimea in 2014, it was expelled and now it is called as a G8 country along with the G7 countries. So as you can see, in G7 we have Canada, we have of course the United Kingdom and Germany, Italy, United States of America, France and Japan. And in G8, including Russia, we have G8. Then the countries of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom, United States, along with the Russia and other countries such as Argentina, China, Indonesia, South Africa, South Korea, Turkey, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, European Union, India, Brazil and Australia. This all is a group of 20 countries. This 20 membership countries, and as I ask you, is it a 21 membership organization? It also consists of the representative of the IMF, that is the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. So we have 19 or 20 plus the European Union and the representatives of IMF and the World Bank. Okay, so as we know that G20 comprises of the world's biggest economies. That means any decision, whatever decision is taking in the summit is important from the perspective of shaping of the economic outcome of the entire globe. And please remember that G20 does not have any permanent secretariat. It is an institution, but it does not have any permanent secretariat infrastructurally in a region such as Geneva or in Nairobi, nowhere. Okay, so keep that in mind because it could be a prelims question. And the importance of a G20, I have already told you from the economic perspective. Basically it is economic, but political and other perspective, if we put into the picture right now, political is also there, health infrastructure is also there, everything is included in the G20. So that is why it is very important for India to make a mark in the G20 summits, which India surely has now. Now, a mix of the world's largest advanced and emerging economies representing about 2/3 of the world's population. Do keep in mind the numbers, all right? 85% of global gross domestic product, 80% of global investment, and over 75% of global trade. And as I told you, it does not have any permanent secretariat or headquarters. G20 summits happen at multiple levels. We have the Sherpas meet. Sherpa is actually a Nepalese guide. In literal term, Sherpas meet whenever it happens. Sherpa is a guide. A guide is called a Sherpa in Nepal. And what is the work of the Sherpa? To make way for the future meets. Here, if we talk about the Sherpa meet, Piyush Goyal, Honorable Minister Piyush Goyal, is the Sherpa for G20. We also have another meet, that is the Finance Ministers meet and Foreign Ministers meet. And then we have Heads of State Summit. So this was Heads of State Summit, plenary session. That means whenever you read plenary session, that means the head of the government are meeting, the representatives, the formal representatives of the country. So finance ministers meet also go hand in hand. We have foreign ministers meet. Of course, finance ministers, why? Because IMF representative and World Bank representatives are also there, right? So if we talk about the Troika, you must be aware of the word Troika. Troika. Troik. What is Troika? Troika is a group of 3 countries. The president of the previous year, the president of the current year, and the president of the upcoming year. These 3 presidents are, these 3 countries who are serving as presidents are a part of the Troika. What is the significance of Troika? The significance of Troika is that whenever we have some kind of policy formulated, we do not need a break in that policy. So in order to ensure continuation and smooth continuation, it is very important that a Troika is formed. And the Troika right now consists of Saudi Arabia, Italy, and one more country. Can you tell me in the comment segment? I can just help you by telling you that India was supposed to actually head the G20 as the president in 2022. But now it is serving as the president for the year expected to in the year 2023. So Saudi Arabia, Italy, and tell me in the comment segment which other countries are part of the Troika. Okay, I hope you have understood the meaning of Troika. Let's move forward and talk about the G20 summit highlights which happened in Rome because Italy was the president. So there are many highlights, especially fighting COVID-19 pandemic has been on the biggest. It rules, COVID-19 pandemic rules the entire summits right now, whichever summit are happening, COVID-19, because it has made such a profound impact on the lives of the common people and especially emerging and developed economies. It is very important for every country to have a relationship with COVID-19 infrastructure, which also consists on improving health infrastructure, strengthening economic cooperation, and furthering innovation. They also adopted the Rome Declaration, and under the health section, Communique gives a very strong message where countries have agreed on the fact that COVID-19 immunization is a global public good. That means we have to ensure the outreach of the vaccines to the maximum number in the actual needed amount of time. Because if we do not immunize them, what will happen? Again, mutations will start to occur and a new variant will be developed, and we do not know our vaccines are worthy and if our vaccines are actually going to work against the new variants. Okay, so that is why it is very important. During the summit, countries also agreed that the World Health Organization will be strengthened to fast-track the process of emergency use authorization of COVID-19 vaccines, whichever are coming. Importance was also given to energy and climate, especially as we have discussed the energy crises arising from the transition from coal-based economy to renewable energy economy. Also, several developing countries called for safeguarding the interests of the developing world because, of course, there has been an imbalance when it comes to the development through industrialization and, of course, the underdeveloped and developing countries. So, of course, there is a responsibility of the entire globe towards the developing countries. Supporting and enhancing the existing multilateral health architecture for detection, response, prevention, and preparedness, working towards monitoring and implementation of multi-sectoral, evidence-based One Health approach in a bid to address risks emerging due to interface between human, animals and environment. Here we are clearly talking about zoonotic diseases. Biodiversity is important to keep these zoonotic diseases in check. If there is a longer layer and a longer chain of different species, what will happen? The diseases which should be kept in check by specific species in order to not be reaching to the human beings. If there is a longer chain, of course, any disease will take a longer amount of time, or it might never be reaching the human beings. This is the importance of food chain and species chain. If the humans will come closer in contact by making these two species extinct, what will happen? Zoonotic diseases will not be kept in check. So it's important. Here, fostering all the society and health in all policy, promotion of multilateral trading system as well. Now, Rome Declaration, if we talk about, this is all a part of the Rome Declaration from here. Okay, don't get confused. And enabling equitable, affordable, and global access to high quality, safe and effective health system. As you can see, health dominates. Along with COVID-19 pandemic, the Rome Declaration is dominated by health and COVID-19 vaccine infrastructure, supporting low and middle income countries in a bid to build expertise and develop local and regional manufacturing capacities. And you have to see it in line with India's Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India as well. And focus on data sharing, capacity building, voluntary technology and licensing agreements so that more smooth transactions can happen, enhancing support to existing preparedness and prevention structures, investing in worldwide health and care workforce, investing in adequate resources, training and staffing of diagnostic public and animal health laboratories, along with investments for proposing and developing and improving interoperable early warning surveillance, information and trigger system. Now, along with COVID-19, along with health, we also have something more important, that is the disaster resilience of the emerging economies. India especially. India has a long coastline of approximately 7,500 kilometers. And as we see erosion happening, as we see the submergence of coasts happening, many livelihoods which are dependent on the blue economy are impacted. And in order to save lives as well as livelihoods, we have to improve our infrastructure when it comes to the early warning system for natural disasters. Because natural disasters now are bound to happen as we have developed an economy on unsustainable development model. So, for longer term, we of course have to see better investment for sustainable economy, and for the shorter term, we have to see early warning systems and along with investment in various sectors. So this is important. Why? If you must be thinking, okay, ma'am, she is reading everything that is there. Of course, I would. Why? I would try to tell you that everything is important over here. Anything could come in your prelims exam. Don't be under any impression, okay, I think this is important, this can be a prelims question, this is not. So I am trying to ensure that I do not miss anything. Kindly bear with that. Okay. Increasing effectiveness of preparedness and response measures by extending support and promoting a meaningful and inclusive dialogue. Ensuring effectiveness of financing mechanisms, coordination on pharmaceuticals and non-pharmaceutical measure and emergency response with respect to sustainable and equitable recovery. Addressing the need of streamlined, enhanced, sustainable and predictable mechanisms for financing pandemic preparedness, prevention, detection and response in long term. Okay, so India, as I already told you, has made a huge mark because India has remained, actually, India is the only country in the G20 which is actually abiding by its goal for being climate resilient. And it is important for a country such as India, which such diversity, not only in terms of diversity in human beings, but also diversity in its physical endowments such as mountains, oceans, lakes. So there are so many. So keep in mind that it is important for India to actually walk the talk. And India has walked the talk. India has walked the talk when it comes to actually reduction in the greenhouse gas emission of the 2005 to 2030 level. India is doing a great job when it comes to reducing 33 to 35% of GDP of greenhouse gas emission when we compare the years 2005 and 2030. And India has also, if we talk about Conference of Parties, India has promised that it will become a net zero economy by the year 2070. Okay, 2070, keep that in mind. And India is also doing a great job when it comes to the 40% of the installed capacity proving to be effective when it comes to energy. So India has to get its energy, that is electricity, from renewable energy, from renewable sources, which is 40%, and the remaining amount right now has to be fossil based. So now India has announced that we will be a net zero economy by the year 2070. Keep that in mind. That is very important. That's something you should be practicing your answers on. Okay. Also, as you can see, at G20 Summit, India is ready to produce 5 billion COVID vaccine doses by 2022 end. That means more investment in infrastructure, more investment by the foreign investors in the manufacturing industries of India. More innovations are needed. We need to look now. Of course, COVID-19 vaccine is there as a name, from Covishield to Covaxin. Many other vaccines are also coming into the picture. So we need more investment in research and development for developing more and, of course, safer vaccines. Then India has also achieved key successes at G20 shapes language of climate action, saying one earth, one health. One earth, one health. That means having a more resilient international organization in the name of World Health Organization, which is revamped, which is also catering to the needs of developed and developing countries and underdeveloped countries. Okay, more representation. Also, as I already told you, India only G20 nation to meet its climate goals. And here we have something that India has a target of achieving 40% of electric power, that I have already told you. So we do not need to reiterate it because it's under the Paris Agreement. So India is doing a good job. Where India is lagging behind is the sequestration of carbon of 2.5 to 3 billion metric tons. Here India has to work out on its carbon sequestration with the help of tree covers and forest covers. So there are certain highlights for your answer writing. That is, India invited G20 countries to make India their partner in economic recovery and supply chain diversification. That will, of course, be very beneficial for other countries, especially countries such as China, countries such as Japan, Italy, because they have an aging population. India has a young population. India has a young and skilled population, very intelligent population. So jobs could be outsourced to India. And India has, of course, always proved that it's worth investing when it comes to human resources. Also, India continued to be a trusted partner in the context of reliable supply chains. That means the supply chains need not to be blocked. They should not be hampered in any manner, especially as we see trade wars looming large in the years 2017 to 19, when Donald Trump and, of course, Xi Jinping were having trade war. So supply chain actually got hampered. After that, we have the COVID-19 pandemic, and accordingly, everything was dictated by uncertain means. So that's important. India pushed for and was able to obtain a commitment from G20 nations on improving livelihoods for small and marginal farmers, because in India, small and marginal farmers dominate the agricultural scene. Why? Because of the division of land in a manner that has proved that it's not sustainable for huge machinery to work there. So we need to get innovative in the field of smaller fields, crop fields, so that proper mechanization can happen. Or if not, mechanization is not possible, proper fertilization, insecticides, pesticides, everything should be promoted on whatever we have right now. Okay. Moving on, if we talk about vaccine production and distribution, that is a challenge. That is a mounting challenge right now, because first of all, we do not know what are the other variants are capable of if they come in future. So continuous gene sequencing should happen. That needs a lot of investment. And a divergence of views still do exist when we talk about the funding of the entire scenario. The funding pattern is still not promised upon by the developed nation, how the funding process will take place. So that's another challenge. Again, the world community is on a shaky footing regarding the fragile post-COVID economy. Again, because of the crisis of energy that has been emerging due to the low inventories of coal, the world right now is not ready to just switch to renewable energy. That is another problem. So what can we do? That's a challenge. Rising inflation, spiking energy prices, and alarming supply chain bottlenecks, these are another challenges. Minimum 15% tax, that is on the digital economy. The digital economy in the sense that huge companies such as Meta, that is Facebook, Google, Apple, they are not ready. They have not been ready to concede to the demands of government when the government wants revenue from taxation of the digital economy. So, what should be the legislation in the respective countries, even if all the countries come at a table and say that yes, we have a 15% tax. The domestic countries, if they do not have a legislation or a law supporting that commitment, how we will manage to tax the digital economy, because digital economy right now is huge. Okay, so nations are not actually helping when it comes to developed nations. US is still not ready for the taxation of digital economy. Now we have way forward such as supply chain and infrastructure for vaccination. This needs to be strengthened with huge amount of investment from private sector, from even government sector in the field of research, development and innovation. Then only we can do gene sequencing so that we know the behavior of the COVID-19 virus. Again, digital taxation is a must. Why? Because huge amount of monopolization when it comes to funds, if it goes into the hands of the few, it will of course raise alarms when it comes to public welfare measures, as well as it can give rise to digital imperialism, and data monopolization can give a rise to that. Climate commitments are commitments, but still they are not legally binding. They are still commitments. That is why accountability cannot be set upon each and every one. And sustainable recovery is the biggest challenge right now, because right now also the economies, in order to bounce back, what they are doing, they are trying to bounce back as soon as possible through unsustainable means. And that can give a rise to another challenge in the next 5 to 10 years. All right. Now let's look at our means-based question. Okay. The G20 meeting has come at a critical moment for the global political economy. If it results in timely, effective, coordinated action across major nations, hope for recovery will remain afloat. We have to discuss it in 250 words. Okay. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.